What's up, sports fans? This is Steven here to talk about the new proposed rules change to the NFL rules made by the Denver Broncos. Now, I guess to give a better overall sense of rules changes, the NFL league office does actually encourage all of the teams to submit any rules changes that those teams feel will be beneficial to the league itself. And there were several proposals submitted. Most of the proposals had to do with the reviewing of the instant replay system. Um, those were interesting enough as it stands on its own, but they didn't really catch my attention the way the rules change proposal by the Broncos caught my attention. It has to do with the onside kick rules change. Now, the video that you're watching, this is just from I wanted to thank the YouTube channel, the OnDeck Circle, for providing this video. It's just basically an X's and O's draw up, just to give the viewer, something to look at, instead of just like looking off at a blank screen, while I try to explain the rules and my thoughts on it. The next video that you'll be seeing will actually be a more enjoyable replay, an enjoyable video from the YouTube channel Madden Allstars, which shows a Madden game playing out an onside kick. So it's more like a realistic view of players doing it rather than just X's and O's. So I definitely wanted to thank those two YouTube channels for usage of their video footage. Now the change to the Denver Broncos, change to the onside kick that the Denver Broncos had in mind is that instead of attempting onside kicks, which have proven to be dangerous for players who are trying to land on top of a football and recover it if you're the receiving team. At the same time, you have several guys coming at you full speed with the intent to put a hurting on you so they can get the ball themselves. So trying to eliminate any kind of devastating injuries that can occur from that, Denver Broncos would prefer to have a kicking team take possession of the ball at their own 35-yard line, have one play from scrimmage in which they must pick up 15 yards in order to keep possession of the ball. If they don't, then the defense takes over the ball wherever that possession happens to end up. So in essence, you're facing a 4th and 15 from your 35-yard line. A little background information on that. The Denver Broncos did get this idea from having watched the new football league, the AAF, which has a similar onside kick rule themselves, where you can go essentially one scrimmage play from your own 28-yard line. You have to get 12 yards. So they changed it up a little bit for the NFL purposes. Now, the change, I guess, stems from the change proposal stems from the change that was just put in place at the beginning of the 2018 season, where the NFL teams that were kicking off for onside kicks are no longer allowed to have all of their players line up on one side of the kicker before the kickoff. That's the way it used to be done, and you could just onside kick with 10 players all on one side of the field trying to run and recover their own onside kick before the receiving team can actually gain possession of it themselves. The change stated that the kickoff team must remain the same way that it looks for a normal deep kickoff, where you have an even number of players on each side of the kicker at all times. As a result, the success rate of onside kickoffs being recovered by the kicking team last year went down to 8%. 4 out of 52 kicks were recovered by the kicking team. What was it before? Well, from the stats that I could find, the latest stats, which covered kickoff from the year 2001 to the year 2010, if the receiving team was prepared and knew an onside kick was coming, it was still recovered just less than 20% of the time by the kickoff team. So again, you're looking at 8% compared to just under 20%. If you take into account surprise onside kickoffs, those were recovered by the kicking team 60% of the time. So we're going from 60% down to just under 20 if the team knew it was coming, to last year 8%, just under 8%, because of the new rules change. So it's kind of like saying you don't really have a shot at getting it anyway. So it's kind of like you're just saying, here, take the ball over at midfield, and you'll win the game anyway. So Denver Broncos were thinking that I guess a way to make it more competitive, give both teams more of an equal chance, but at the same time keeping injuries or the risk for injury, keeping it down to a lower percentage, like the NFL wants to try to accomplish as much as possible. They want this new rule change. Now, some questions I have for that. Even though I do like it, I do have questions in terms of what my thoughts are. One is, what happens if there is a penalty? If there's like defensive offsides, what happens then? What also happens if it's illegal use of the hands? Say the pass is incomplete, but there's a flag and it's illegal use of the hands. That's only a 5-yard penalty, but it's an automatic first down. Of course, in any kind of pass interference penalty where it may be less than 15-yard penalty, because you still need 15 yards to get that first down under the rules of the successful run play or successful pass play. So those are questions I have in terms of how those would be resolved. Also, in essence, what are the guidelines for when you're allowed to do it? In the AAF, that new football league, if my memory is correct, the team has to be trailing by 17 points or more, and I guess it has to be either in the second half of the game or in the fourth quarter. I couldn't find anything from the Denver Broncos information that spoke to those conditions in terms of whether it could be attempted any time or if it had to be under those same kind of or similar game conditions, situations. Also, since you are allowed to go, if you are allowed to go for it on like quote unquote 4th and 15, that eliminates the surprise onside kick. That may or may not be that big of a deal. It is fun to have onside kicks catch people by surprise whenever you're running, I guess, strategy where you're trying to catch the other team by surprise. It's always fun for the fan to watch, see if one coach outsmarted the other coach, but you pretty much eliminate that with the onside kick proposal that the Denver Broncos are. So those are my thoughts in terms of the new rules change. Feel free to share your thoughts down below in the comment section. Please hit the like button and also please hit the subscribe button and let me know what you think. And thanks again for listening. And once again, treat each other with respect and be good to each other.